Peeling back the layers, see what's underneath. Let the shadows fade away and finally breathe. We're turning on the light, yeah. We're turning on the light. Exposing all the truth and making everything right. We're turning on the light. Ooh, we're turning on the light. Turning on the light, yeah.
Welcome back to Exposing Truths. I'm your host, Keith Nielsen. Welcome to the show. Today I want to ask you a question. What really gave birth to the nation? What really gave birth to this country? Most people would probably answer the Revolutionary War. Others might say the Declaration of Independence. Some would point out the Founding Fathers. And while all those answers are important, I don't think it tells the whole story. Because before there was a revolution, there was a revival. I truly believe one of the most overlooked chapters in American history isn't political at all. It's spiritual. You see, before the colonies ever declared their independence from Great Britain, something incredibly was happening. Thousands of people were coming to Christ. Churches were packed, people were repenting, and families were changing. Communities were being transformed, and something else was happening. People were beginning to think differently, not just about God, but about freedom. Today, I want to take you back to a moment in history because I really believe understanding where we've been can help us understanding where we need to go. So let's go back to the early 1700s. There wasn't an America yet. There were 13 separate colonies. Think about that for a minute. People in Virginia didn't necessarily think of themselves much as in common with the people of Massachusetts or Pennsylvania. There was no United States, no American flag, no Constitution, no president. Just British colonies underneath King George. Many of those colonies had been founded by people that were looking for religious freedom. But over time, something happened. Faith became routine. Churches became something you attended instead of something that transformed you. Does that sound familiar? Something I wonder if we're living through something similar today. We have more churches than ever, more Christian books, podcasts, more Bible apps. But are we seeing transformed lives? That's the question. Something happened nobody expected. God began moving. Revival spread from colony to colony. One preacher after another was proclaiming the gospel with passion and conviction. People weren't just hearing sermons, they were encountering God. One of those men was Jonathan Edwards. Most people know him for one sermon, Sinners in the Hand of an Angry God. But Edwards wasn't trying to scare people into heaven. He was wanting people to understand the seriousness of sin and the incredible grace of God. Then came George Whitefield. And if you've ever heard of George Whitefield, let me tell you, before television, before radio, before the internet, George Whitefield was one of the most recognized voices in America. He traveled thousands of miles on horseback. He preached crowds, sometimes numbered of tens of thousands. And think about that. No microphone, no loudspeaker, just one man proclaiming the gospel. Benjamin Franklin, even though he didn't share all of Whitefield's beliefs, was fascinated by his ability to reach the crowds. Whitefield wasn't just preaching sermons. He was helping them connect the colonies through shared spiritual experiences. People who had never thought of themselves as one people were hearing the same message, and that's significant. And here's what fascinates me. The Great Awakening wasn't just about filling churches. It was changing how people viewed themselves. They begin to understand that every single person is accountable to God. Not because the king says so, not because the government says so, because God created them. The idea that people had confidence, it encouraged personal responsibility. And those ideas would become incredibly important in the years that followed. Now, let's be clear. An American Revolution didn't happen because of one revival. History is more complicated than that. There were political disagreements, economic pressures, British policies, and Enlightenment ideas that all played major roles. But historians agree that the Great Awakening helped shape the moral and spiritual characters of the colonies in a way that mattered when revolution came. So let's fast forward a generation. Now the colonies are arguing with Great Britain. Taxes, representation, self-government. The debates becoming more intense. And then Thomas Jefferson wrote the most important sentence in human history, that all men are created equal, endowed by their creators with certain unalienable rights. Notice what he didn't write. He didn't say our rights came from government. He didn't say they came from a creator. That's a profound idea. And the rights came from God. Then no government has the authority to simply take them away. The belief that became the cornerstone of American experiment. So now let me ask you another question. What if America doesn't just need another election? What if America just needs another awakening? Think about where you are today. Families are struggling, communities are divided, people don't trust their institutions. Many feel hopeless about the future. Can politics solve all that? I don't think so. Politics has an important role. Good government matters, but the law alone can't change the human heart. History suggests that lasting change often begins somewhere deeper. It begins with individuals choosing integrity, with families rebuilding trust, neighbors serving one another, Christians that are renewable, begins with turning back to God. And when hearts change, family change. When families change, communities change. And when communities change, history could change. As we come off the celebration of 250 years of our country, maybe we should spend less time asking, how do we save America? And more time asking, how do we renew the character of America? Whether you believe in another great awakening is coming, simply hope is for a stronger, a more compassionate nation, each of us play a role. If you're a Christian, that starts with living out your faith every day with humility, integrity, and love. In 2 Chronicles 7:14, it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Whatever your perspective is, renewal begins with people, not institutions. And maybe, and just maybe, that's how the next chapter of American story begins. One heart, one family, one church, one community at a time. So I thank you for joining me on another episode of Exposing Truths. If this episode made you think, I hope you'll share it with someone who loves American history or is interested in the role of faith that has played in this nation's story. So be sure to subscribe. Don't miss future episodes. Until then, I'm Keith Nielsen with Exposing Truths. Keep seeking truths because the truth still matters.